Hi, how is it like being American and living in Russia, but not in Moscow region?
Hello, hello.
And today, guys, Ian will be my tour guide.
That's the first thing you see. It's like, oh wow, this is so
Really?
terrible.
Do you know why do they take McDonald's?
Flip it upside down. Apartment life in Russia is actually not bad. He didn't want to
Why?
give me my pizza, and it's actually happened twice.
Is it a love trip?
So I like to call it the divorce tree.
And he will tell us how he is living here last 3 years, what he likes, what he doesn't like. Keep watching. So guys, right now I'm going to my American student place. He's living in Mytishchi. It's out of Moscow region, and I've already bought the ticket to the train. So I need to use to reach my student Ian. So Elektrichka, it's a train which we use for reaching regions. So we have normal train. For example, if you go from Moscow to St. Petersburg, you will use just train. We call it поезд. But if you go from Moscow to the Moscow region, you will need Elektrichka. So I will show you the area. I bought a ticket from a lady. Also, you can buy tickets from this ATM. You can see it right in Sarbain tickets. And so let's see. Can we, oh guys, look at this. So they have English, so you can buy the ticket by yourself. So you can pay by cash, you can pay by card. And guys, I took the ticket. Then guys, you need to look at this. So guys, it's right in direction, and then you can see it's right in put. The put means the level which you need, like you can see 3, 1, 2. I need 2, so then I take my tickets and go to the platform, and I will use Elektrichka. Oh guys, it's right in English. Look at this. So it's in English, it's right in tracks. So I need track 2. So actually guys, if you don't know Russian language, you can also ask someone, like you can say the name of your station which you need, and the lady, someone will help you and tell you what track you need. Guys, Elektrichka, using Elektrichka, it's different, not like metro. By the way, if you haven't watched my video how to use Moscow Metro, you can click here or here. I will share the link. It's full guide how to use Moscow Metro. I highly recommend you to watch this video, and you will see how you can buy Moscow Metro ticket and how not to be lost in a Moscow Metro. And it looks like this is mine. So guys, we're on platform. You can see it's open-end platform, and I need track 2. Oh, it looks like this is my train. Oh my God, I lost, so I have to wait. So you can see it looks different. They have a map, but also guys, it's in Russian. It's all in Russian language. If you are going to visit Russia for travel reason, or if you're going to settle here, guys, actually, yes, you will need to learn basic Russian language. You're not, of course, to be a professional, but at least basic knowledge, guys, you will need. And if you want to learn Russian, guys, I can teach you. I invite you to my Russian language course. You will see here my website, annaglobaltravel.ru. Guys, welcome. Take my course, learn Russian. So I will teach you how to read. And guys, at least in this kind of situation, if you are going to reach any kind of place by yourself, at least, guys, you can read and translate by using your phone and dictionary, and understand where are you now and how to reach your direction. So guys, welcome to my course. Just click here to my website. You will see, guys, options about face-to-face classes with me, and about studying by yourself with my course. So guys, welcome. Don't worry. It's not hard, guys. You will just need basic knowledge. I will teach you, and you will enjoy your trip to Russia. So guys, I am inside. You can see how Elektrichka looks like. Actually, it's not so beautiful like Moscow Metro, but anyway, so it's a good way to reach Moscow region. So of course, guys, you can always take a taxi. So, electric is good because it's fast. You will not stay in a traffic. Plus, it's cheaper. I bought for ticket just 50 rubles. It's 50 cents. If I take a taxi, I would pay 2,000 rubles. So it's $20. So it's much cheaper to use electrichka. So for me, guys, it takes right now 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I will reach Taninskaya station platform. When my student leaves, he will meet me, and guys, we will start our interview and see how is it like to be American and living in Moscow region. So guys, I reached Taninskaya. So let's go out. Hello, yeah.
Hello, hello.
How you
Привет.
doing?
I'm doing good. It's a nice day. It's not too cold out. The snow from earlier this week melted and the sun's out. It's very nice.
And guys, by the way, if you didn't watch our previous interview, I already asked Yen some questions about his life living in Russia. You can click here. So, Yen, what are you going to show
Well,
us?
so first we're starting off at the train station because we met at the train station, and this is an important, very important place because public transportation is very important for most people in Russia, particularly in big towns and cities. So for me, I would come to this train station every day during my Russian lessons at Pushkin Institute, and this is actually where I met Anna when she was working as a teacher there. And I want to really quick show you guys what's at the train station. Because what's actually interesting in Russia is I don't know why this is, but for some reason, the worst part of town is always outside the train station.
Yes, yes.
That's the first thing you see. It's like, oh, wow, this
Why
place
is it like this?
is
Really?
so terrible. It's so terrible. But then you get away from the train station, you actually realize, oh, this is actually a pretty nice place. This is actually an important place besides having the train station because if you want to turn the camera, you'll see over there is wild berries. And then behind you is Ozon. Now that's the Russian equivalent of Amazon. Because like most other places, Russians are increasingly switching to online shopping for their consumer goods, for their computers and cameras and toys, all that stuff. So it's important to have one of these locations.
And do you use, Yen, this wild berries or
Yes,
Ozon?
I use both. Sometimes I use both. Ozon I think is a bit older and bigger, but wild berries I've bought things from there as well.
So, and it's easier, so...
Yes, and sometimes, and the reason why is because if you walk yourself to one of these locations, delivery is free because it costs a little bit more delivery to your house. It also might not be convenient, especially if you live in an apartment and you might not be at home. You might not want them to leave your packages there.
And maybe you don't know well Russian that to communicate with delivery guy.
Yes, because very often the delivery guys are also not Russian and also don't know Russian. So if you don't know Russian very good and he also doesn't know Russian.
I remember one funny story. Yes, you told me one delivery guy came to your place and he didn't wait.
He didn't want to give me my pizza, and it's actually happened twice. They just keep the pizza. But anyways, that's important to know if you plan on visiting Russia for a prolonged period of time, maybe a couple weeks or a month if you're here for work or for tourism, and you might want to buy something and have it delivered to your house. It's very important to know about Ozon and wild berry. Mytishchi is almost as old as Russia, and actually back during the Russian Empire and the Russian Tsardom, it was a tax collection point for traveling caravans.
Yeah, now do you remember the year when Mytishchi was...
It was one. It was 1 year. The official date is 1 year younger than Moscow.
Oh, 1 year younger than
Yes.
Moscow.
Though with Russian cities, they're usually older than what the official date is, because the official date is the first time that city was mentioned in the old text. So.
Do you know why do they use this? They take McDonald's...
and flip it upside down because it looks like the Russian sh.
Да. So guys,
So it's a joke.
Да, this is joke. It's Russian letter sh. but because the first name of this shawarma, and why do they use McDonald's?
See, Russians have gourmet coffee as well.
Yeah.
Even though, so there's in smaller coffee chains and individual shops like the one we just went to, and Russia also still has Starbucks. What happened though is that the Starbucks company officially exited Russia, but a local company bought it and rebranded it as Star Coffee. And
Did you try coffee in Star Coffee?
I have.
And is it different than Starbucks?
No, I think it's the same. So if you look around here, so this is a pedestrian walkway that I use frequently to get into town. The only problem with it is that sometimes people ride their scooters on it, and I hate that because sometimes at first you don't hear them because they're quiet, and then it'll just zip by you very fast. I hate that, but it's nice. That's why I say it's actually pretty easy to get around Russia even without a car. So I always grew up in a house. I grew up in a house, and when I became an adult, I bought a house. So I always, in America, lived in a house. Russia is more apartment-oriented. More people live in apartments. I would say, if I remember the statistic correctly, more than 60% of Russians live in apartments. And especially in the Soviet period, both the USA and Soviet Russia changed their economies after World War II. The USA started building those suburbs, those very famous suburbs that you see on TV all the time with houses and everybody buying cars, and those shopping malls in the center of those suburbs for something close for people to shop at. So Russia kind of did the opposite. So under Stalin in his later years, and especially with Khrushchev, they really started shrinking the footprint of Russian cities. What I mean by that is they'll put a very large number of people in these big apartment buildings. So like, for example, for about 5 years, I lived in a town in Iowa called Davenport, and that area had about 300,000 people. Mytishchi also has 300,000 people, but it's a much smaller city, and that's because most of the people don't live in houses, they live in apartments. And so Mytishchi's population shrank in the 1990s, but now it's growing again. So you can see as we're walking, there's all these new apartment buildings. It's a convenient and cheaper place to live
Than Moscow.
than Moscow, but it's close enough so you can get to Moscow. If you are a person who works in northern Moscow, anywhere in northern Moscow, you can probably get to your work in an hour, probably. These are the pancake houses.
Pancake?
What's this Russian word? Blini.
Панельные. Да? Панельный дом.
Да, потому что, if you count them, they're 5 floors, and that's the maximum number of floors you can have without a lift, without an elevator.
And I think it's Khrushchevki or not?
These ones, I don't know. Maybe these are 1960s. I don't know how old these buildings are. They could be. But yes, during the Khrushchev period, they built a lot of these.
You know, most of people like this kind of houses, buildings, because they are old and it's very warm inside, and they have good walls, like fat walls. So you don't, it's like you don't hear well your neighbor, because modern apartments, buildings
are not as good. So behind us, or in front of us, I'm sorry, in front of us, we got the clock tower for the city. And if you look to the right, you see those 3 flags. So the first flag is for Moscow Oblast, the Moscow region. And the middle flag, of course, is the flag of the Russian Federation. And see, the clock tower works. It's not just for show.
Wow. Awesome. Actually, I see first time the bells. Usually we use bells on the church.
Yeah, so this one has bells and they work. And finally, oh look, see the flags are waving now.
Oh,
We can actually
yeah,
see
yeah.
them. So that,
Mytishchi.
yes, so that third flag is Mytishchi, and that yellow, it's a little hard to see, but that yellow object in the middle is a boat, and that's because the Yauza, right? The
Yauza River.
River is a major trade route from the Vikings all the way down to Constantinople. So sun's behind him right now, but we have Lenin. And the thing about Lenin, he's like Russia's version of George Washington with the revolution. So statues of him, he's always has an open gesture stepping forward into the future. And behind us, unfortunately, we can't see it right now because it's still too early in the year, but there's a very, very nice fountain back there.
Oh, okay.
It's actually surprising how big it is. They just closed it because it's still too cold out. You can see there's even still snow on the ground. It's still
So guys, if you like
freezing.
this location, you can write me in comments, and maybe I can come again in the summertime. Yeah, so Mytishchi, we can say like a really small city, everything here. So actually, like you can live here and don't need to go to Moscow, and you can do everything here, right?
The footprint is smaller. You can basically walk from one side of Mytishchi to the other side in under an hour. You don't really even need a car too much. So if you look in front of us, you will see everybody walking home. They don't really have school buses in Russia, those yellow school buses like in America. Typically, parents will either drive their kids or the kids will just take public transportation or walk home. And it's not dangerous to do that either. They can just go home. They can walk home. And we're here in this, we're getting close to what I want to show everybody. You'll see there's some banks.
And also, and I see after school, the place when you can study
Where do you
and
see that?
and get driving license.
Euroauto?
After school, you can see
Idea.
this belly white.
Oh,
Автошкола,
да.
да.
Я не знал.
Ты не знал? Да,
я
ну
не
вот.
знал.
And also, it's some of the, I don't know, shopping malls.
Yes, there's some smaller, and in America we would call these malls strip malls because you still walk on the outside of them and then go inside each individual shop. It's kind of the same idea here.
Oh, it's very, very, very big. I see. Wow, it's like a big district, not just. I thought it would be a few buildings, but there are quite a lot. Yeah. So you can see contrast, да? So this is, we can say, new Mytishchi and old Mytishchi. Do you know, Ian, how much does it cost apartment in these new buildings?
You know what? The prices of apartments have increased in Russia recently. I'm not sure, but it is less. And especially, I don't actually know. I'd have to look.
Да, guys, so if you want, we can
But these
look.
are considered, like these ones in front of us are considered economy class apartments. So they're supposed to be affordable even for, like I think most of these are probably 1 room or 2 room apartments. And also when I say 1 room or 2 room,
It means
are
two.
referred to, yes. That means the, in America we would call it a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, and that refers to how many bedrooms. In Russia it's almost the same, but refers to how many rooms besides the kitchen and the toilet and the bathroom. Even if you look at Russian peasant houses, like 500 years ago, they were built a little differently because it would get so cold. In winter, they would have an entry hall. Like, so if you go into one of those old log peasant houses, you'll see there's an entry hall, and then the house is divided into 1 room or 2 rooms to conserve heat. So these are supposed to be economy priced houses. Russia, and actually in Europe too, they're not as focused on air conditioning, centralized air conditioning as in the USA.
No, yes,
Also-
because actually it's cold here.
Yeah.
For example, I have air conditioner in my apartment, but usually I switch on it maybe one time per year. So it could be maybe very hot one day. Actually, last summer, I think I switched on it maybe 2 times. So usually we don't use, we do focus for heating systems because it's cold, 6 months winter.
But
So
you can see if you want one. I'm not sure if it comes. I don't know because I don't live here and I haven't tried to
so
live
you,
here. But
yeah,
you can
maybe.
see you can. But it either comes with the apartment or you can, or at the very least it has that basket where you can put. So you, at the very least, have the option to buy your own unit for air conditioning if you want it. Because the idea is all of the stores you need most of the time are right there next to you. So people live on the second floor and up, and the first floor are these stores. So if you want your nails, if your wife or girlfriend wants to have her nails done, there's the beauty parlors. If you want basic groceries, it's there too.
Yeah, actually, I see everything, the pharmacy, coffee, cafe, everything what you need.
So in America, we have a term called a food desert. And what a food desert is a place where if a person lives and he's too poor to have a car, there's no groceries in walking distance. What those people do is they go to those corner stores, like those small stores we saw by the train station. Those aren't the best places to buy food. Like even in Russia, it's not the best place to buy food, and it's the same in USA. Those aren't you want a proper grocery store. So the idea with these Soviet and now Russian.
Yeah, and
designs,
actually you don't need a car.
yeah, you don't need a car. You can buy everything you want without. I think the average Russian walks probably 4 or 5 times more than
Americans.
Yes, and that's when you're dating a Russian woman, like me, because I actually met my girlfriend here when I was for the first time when I was here in Russia, and even just my friends, both men and women. You know, you meet people. You know, for
They
the
always
first
say,
time.
"Let's
They
walk."
Yes, whether it's dating someone or just friends with someone, that's like almost the first thing they say to you. Let's walk.
Yeah, actually it's a part of Russian culture. We used to walk always. And in America, I think the car industry, it's changed American culture. It's everything organized like no one can survive without car and everyone must buy a car. But in Russia, actually, you don't need a car, so you can survive and live, especially if you speak about Moscow or Moscow region. No need any kind of car. You can walk. And we used to walk here, so for us it's not a problem.
And you'll also notice that the Russian idea, I think this is even before the Soviet period, like even in the Russian Empire, the Russian idea of a boulevard was always very wide. So the streets are always very wide. It's very unusual to go to a Russian town and find streets that are like this, you know, that are very tiny. People often criticize Russian urban planning because people live in these giant anthill buildings, but the positive of that is that because everybody is in such narrow buildings, there's room outside those buildings. Because imagine if you had several thousand people in smaller houses. They would take up a lot more space, and you couldn't have these wide streets and sidewalks and parks. So that's...
So Ian, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is the Russian Samovar, which is their traditional tea kettle. It's after, I'd say, not after, during the Soviet period when everybody had electricity and they were producing those cheaper plastic kettles for apartments. People don't really have samovars. Most people don't have samovars anymore because it's not convenient for apartment life. Look up Tea Party in Mytishchi. It's a very famous painting, which is it's a political commentary, of course.
Okay.
It shows a greedy churchman with an injured soldier and his son who are starving, and the churchman is saying, "No, I won't give you anything." Maybe the Samovar is a commentary on that because it's a tea party. Maybe, I don't know.
And this is the main entrance to the city. So if you go by car, for example, if you take a taxi, so from Moscow, you will come here.
This park has more history about Mytishchi. So Mytishchi was a place for, it was like, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's basically a tax collection point for merchants for hundreds of years coming to and from Moscow. And it was a very significant place during the war, during World War II, during the Great Patriotic War. So this park has an amusement park. It has a couple monuments in it, and it has an alley of heroes. So it shows all the people who became a hero of the Soviet Union or a hero of Russia who lived in or worked in Mytishchi. Actually, if you stop at this one, this is Yevgenia Rudneva. She's internationally famous. There's actually an asteroid named after her. And there's also, if you go down to Crimea, if you visit Crimea, you will see monuments to her there too, because that is unfortunately where she died while flying, liberating Crimea in 1944. And to our left, this is a palace. And
Where is
right here, this is a palace.
Ah, this one palace?
Yes, it's a palace. It's not palace, Fedoritz.
Here it's not too big.
No, it's a Dvoritz. It's a
Little palace?
a little palace of culture.
So we
And-
call it dvorец in Russian, but actually dvorец has two meanings. One meaning is like a palace when Tsar, king, place, and this one dvorец, the meaning is like some training center.
Yes, and I think they started calling that in the Soviet periods because it's for the people.
Yeah, no, because it's also Soviet Union style architecture
Yes.
here.
And you see to the left here, so normally this area is just flat, it's pavement, it's for concerts. So people hold concerts here, but in the winter, they fence it off and put a skating rink there, so there's nobody.
Yeah, the ice skate. Oh yeah, and look at this. Is it a love tree when people marry?
Yes. Though I like to call it the divorce tree because most people don't stay married.
Да, so guys, you can see
See?
here. Да,
And
so
some of them have names.
like if we think about it like an art, yes, I like, but I don't believe it. No, because we see the results. If it works, no one divorce, right? You have been living here last 4 years or
Well,
3.
not 4, 3 years, yes. So my advice would be, well, of course, before you move to a country, you need to see it first and see if you like it. And my advice for people visiting Russia is to start with Moscow. And you can you could spend a whole month in Moscow and still not see everything there. It's a very big place. And since we're in Mytishchi, we're not even outside the Moscow region. We're in a different city, but we're still in Moscow region. There's a lot to see, and there's 20 million people here.
And do you recommend people to choose Mytishchi, for example, like place for living?
Mytishchi or any of the surrounding towns are more affordable, and they're right next to Moscow. You can take a metro or a train straight to and be in Red Square in an hour and a half maybe.
Don't miss our next video, because right now I'm going to make with Jan second video and I will ask him about differences between Russian and American culture. So you can click here and soon will be this new video, but right now you can click here and also to watch our previous video when I took interview and when Jan told us full story. Yeah, so in that interview Jan tell us why he came to Russia, and he was spoken about advantages and disadvantages of living in Russia, right, Jan?
Yes.
Do you remember that
Yes.
interview?
Mm-hmm.
And see you for the next video with Jan. Thank you for listening. Bye for now. Пока-пока.
All right.
Пока-пока. Yeah.